Happy Monday morning, my fellow estheticians. Thank you so much for joining me on Shelley Show Tell. Today is actually a pretty special day. So back in 1988, on this day, I turned 28, and 2 days later, I got my aesthetic license. So today we're going to go down memory lane a little bit, and I just want to tell you a little bit about my history. But first, as I do every Monday morning, we're going to do my little sayings. And I keep going back to this book. I'm very drawn to Excuses Be Gone by Wayne Dyer. I don't know. What I do on Monday mornings is I just pick them up and it seems like they jump out of the page at me for whatever reason it is. I actually have two short ones today. In some way that I don't fully understand, I've made myself a vibrational match to all of the conditions of my life. And I'm willing to take all of the responsibility for these conditions. It's no one's fault. I bear full responsibility. I think this one popped out to me today because this weekend I spent some time with a friend of mine, and he just complained this and that, and excuses. And I kind of stopped him and put my hand on him. I said, what would it look like if all that was gone? What would happy look like? And he couldn't answer that. He was very good at all the excuses and all the other stuff. But when I got down to what would it look like if your mom was gone, you didn't have to take care of her. And he was just silent. So I don't know, for me, there's something big about taking that responsibility for what we've ultimately brought into our lives. My second one is, without these excuses, what alternative thoughts would we have? Rather than focusing on what you can't do because it's difficult and it may take a long time, you would think like this. This is definitely something that I can and will create for myself. I know that I can do anything I put my mind to. I anticipate that this is within my ability to readily accomplish. I have no fear because I recognize that whatever guidance and assistance I require is available. I'm excited, thrilled, and elated about fulfilling this dream. I realize that the thoughts I have are meshed with enthusiasm and passion, and that nothing can stop me. In fact, I'm certain that whatever I need to actualize my dreams is already on its way. Wow, how much more powerful would that be if we thought that way instead of, oh, I can't do this because of this and that type of thing, or, oh, I'm too afraid. I'm too afraid to try that. So I'm going to ask my fabulous Jessica, that just always has such wonderful things to say. What do you think about these two quotes this morning?
Oh, I love them, first of all. And I really, you make me think about Katie Byron. She really talks about this as well, right? Where she's talking about, that we actually choose the excuses, and that we actually choose to be in that vibration where we're like, oh, if I have to take care of my mother, and I have to do this and I have to do that. And I'm like, but you want that because it makes you feel like you deserve to be in the state you're in, and to talk that way and to be in that vibration. And you want her to need you, or that situation, you want that objection. Even though you maybe don't realize it internally, you've become so comfortable in making that excuse or placing that blame or saying, I am the way I am, and this is who I am, and this is how I am, and choosing at this point in our lives not to grow and change. And I think it's so poignant that it's your birthday, and it would be so easy. You're like, well, I'm all grown up. I'm all grown up, and this is the way I am.
Nothing else for me now.
Both, and I can't hesitate, but I have to talk about one sentence that kept coming up last week. And it was from several estheticians. They were like, I feel like when you stop learning, you stop growing. And I really love that. And that you have to recognize that each of those little things that pops up in your brain, those obstacles, you pivot that sentence the way you did with the second quote, where you're like, I love this opportunity. I love that I get to take care of my mother. I love that this client is giving me resistance. I love that I'm being highlighted or recognized. And then seeing how that moves you, because I truly feel the universe wants to know what you want. And when you're constantly focusing on that, maybe this is so hard. Well, that's what it thinks you want. It's like, okay, this is where you are. And so we're focusing on that. So I love these, especially when someone like yourself, Shelley, who's had so many years in the treatment room and so many years on this planet, is able to be like, oh, I can still pivot and shift my mind and learn more and grow more and use this to make myself better in the treatment room. Not, well, mindset won't make a difference, or Wayne Dyer, I already heard it and I already read it. I know this already, but you come back to that same book and you're like, when I read this now, it's different than when I read it when I was, let's say, 28 or 35. I love that.
Oh, true. It's so true. Sometimes it can be from week to week when I read a book, you know. Like I get a different thing the following week, or like I'll go back over and why didn't I highlight that sentence last time? Because boy, that's jumping out on the page on me right now. For those of you who just joined us, we're just kind of having a casual session today. We're celebrating my 62nd birthday and starting into my 37th year as an esthetician. And we're going to kind of go back down memory lane. And this is going to be very, very condensed version because we're going to make it quick because I have to get on to, celebrating my birthday today. So we'll make it a quick one today. But the reason I like to kind of share my story is because I like to show, especially when I go to schools. I just went to a school last week and spoke to students, and it's like, they're like this, like really listening, grabbing onto every word, like, wow, she did that. Oh, she did that. I like to show the new estheticians and even the seasoned estheticians that there's so much to do in this industry. We can constantly be pivoting and trying new things. And the only thing that holds us back is our own fear. And for some reason, when I started back as a youngin', back in my 20s, maybe it was naivety, I don't know what it was, but I had no fear. I had no fear. I just kept leaping and leaping and leaping. And here I am 37 years later. And it just, sometimes it amazes me. So just real quickly, oh my gosh. So I'm 27 and I'm in a cubicle at Cost Plus Imports doing accounting. And I'm sitting there at 27, oh my word, I cannot spend the rest of my life in a cubicle. I am going to go absolutely crazy. So I look at the newspaper, I see a job at Macy's cosmetic counter, and I decide, oh, that sounds like a fun job. Let me go interview for that. Well, I didn't wear makeup and I'd never done sales before in my life. But that whole thing of no fear, I went in there with a confidence, not a cockiness, just a confidence that I could learn whatever they had to teach me to do this job well. Got the job. 3 months later, I won salesperson of the whole cosmetic department, not just the counter that I was at, but the whole department. Why? Not because I was really salesy, but because I was concerned about that client from me. How can I help you? Oh, Clinique, where I was at, that doesn't work for you. Let me take you over to another counter. Now, I'm sure Clinique didn't like that, but I was servicing that client in front of me, not just trying to make that sale. Okay, didn't like that job very much. It was just not my thing. Got a job at a dermatology office doing computer work. Third day there, the dermatologist asked me if he could train me to be his back office assistant. I have no idea about being a backup. Don't people go to school for that for a really long time? Like me? Why would you want me? But then I thought, wow, I'm being handed an opportunity here. Why would I say no? So I said yes. And that led into watching him have an esthetician there. Now, there's a whole long version of this that I tell, and I think the video is even on my website. But I quit that job, went to esthetician school, came back out, worked for a plastic surgeon, worked for a dermatologist, and within 18 months of graduating, I had the opportunity to purchase my first spa. I was only an esthetician for 18 months. I knew nothing about the spa world. I was in the medical world. But again, I was being handed an opportunity. If I let fear take over, I wouldn't be where I am today. I told this person yes, and I purchased a spa, ran that spa for many, many years, grew it to doing 2 suites in a medical building, employees, which was not my thing. That's a whole other workshop we'll do. And I enjoyed myself, worked really hard, started to lose my passion around 2005 and thought, this is time to sell this business before the business starts going down and I've completely lost my passion. So I kind of faltered for a few years. I'm not going to lie to you. It was like, what do I do now? I don't want to be out of this industry, but I don't know what to do. And somehow I fell into mentoring other estheticians and equipment. Equipment became my big thing that I absolutely adored and loved. And before I knew it, I was opening a training center, a large training center where we had enough room for 48 estheticians to come to workshops. And I had other businesses in the industry coming and renting the room to do workshops. It was a beautiful, wonderful time. I opened up a second one of those in Southern California. Just all of these things. During that time, I became a radio show host. You could have never told me back in the beginning when I started in this industry that I would be a radio show host. I did that for almost 2 years, live every Monday on Voice America. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. Then during this time, I got the opportunity to be an author in an anthology book, which led to 3 more industry books. Nobody would ever told me that I would have been an author. So can you see all the pivoting? Can you see all the opportunities to let fear stop me? And I never did. I pushed through that fear every time. And trust me, that I might sound confident about it now, but in the moments, I was like, oh, Shelley, what are you doing? But I just kept pushing through it and pushing through it. And now here I am today, had the opportunity last year from 2 fabulous entrepreneurs that called me about being a chief beauty officer of Skin Expert Spa. And here I am now opening these spas all over the United States. I mean, and that's not even the tip of the iceberg of all the ways you can go in this industry. I just like to tell that so that you all just know, even if you're seasoned and you think, I'm here, I'm stuck here now, this is what I have. No, there's still opportunities. Just listen for the knock on the door, right? Because sometimes the knock comes, but we're not.
Why can't I hear? See, the last time I had the same thing on Zoom that I didn't hear, remember?
Oh, no. So there's a knock right there. Sometimes we get the knock and we just don't hear it. So Jess or Carrie or Jonna, you're all people that are in summer, you're all involved in our wonderful, Skin Experts and Shelley Hancock Consulting. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to pipe in?
Well, I'll always talk. Summer, go ahead. Summer.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, sort of reminded me of something that I heard over the weekend, that we are born with our most innate skill and our most useful skill that we have. So, for example, when a snake is born, it knows how to bite. When, a bear or when a giraffe is born, it knows how to run. We are born with the innate ability to ask for help, to cry for help. And I think that's very poignant. And I think that's something that we have really been working to create with Skin Experts and Shelley Hancock Consulting, is a place where our estheticians can come and ask for help. And we're here to provide that help and act as a bridge as you go on this journey. That's just sort of where that took me. So I just wanted to share.
No, Summer, that's actually awesome, because that's how I originally created Shelley Hancock Consulting, because I realized there were so many people that needed help. I needed help. Back in the day, we were all just stuck before the internet became so big. We were just stuck in treatment rooms by ourselves, just trying to do the best we could do. Now there's so many places we can reach out to. And we're expanding so much at Shelley Hancock Consulting that we just want to be available to help new estheticians as well as seasoned estheticians. Jess, what were you going to say?
Well, now my mind has pivoted, but now I think as women, we often, over the years, we put these obstacles in front of ourselves. I hear you tell that story where you were like, there's an opportunity. And so many of us would see that as a problem. Like, oh, I have to pivot again. Oh, I have to pivot again. Oh, I have to pivot again. And whereas when I see and hear your story, I see you like, oh, a book. I could write a book. And in my mind, I might go to, I can't write a book. Like, I can't be a part of that, and put the boundary in place. Like, same with even just talking to estheticians all the time, where they'll say like, I can't help this client. I haven't been. Just this weekend, I was talking to a brand new esthetician, and she was saying that. She was like, well, I can't go in the treatment room, but I know I need to be in there. And, you know I need to help more people. And I was like, that's why people like Shelley have built this community. This was always your opportunity, to come to us and to get this help. I really think that all of your sage knowledge and you sharing this story really shows us like how much you could have gone in a different path. You could have made a decision at any given point in that surgical office that day, or you made that mistake that you tell on your YouTube, but you guys should definitely watch, you could have just been like, nope, not for me. And every one of us comes to that moment, especially in these last couple of years where there's been challenge. And I come back to that story you told me about your roller skating and just being a fearless young woman, just roller skating through this like middle of the night life and just being so carefree. I think when we're young, we are so naive that we're just willing to just do anything. And then we get older and we start stepping in our own way. And I really love how you tell your stories and just how easy it is. And I know it's not, for you to just inspire other people with your story. And that can be how simple it is, just to share with your community, each and every one of us. And now we have such a big, vast, like 6 degrees of separation because of all of the estheticians that you've supported around the world.
Thank you. I'll tell everybody real quickly the story. I was only, I think, 18 years old and living in Hollywood, working at a restaurant in Beverly Hills, lived in Hollywood. I would get off of work about midnight and I would roller skate home at midnight. I'm telling you, if my parents had ever found that out back then, they would have driven down and brought me home right away. But I had no fear. It never, ever entered my mind that this was not a smart thing to do. So consequently, I truly believe that we kind of attract the energy to us that we put out. Consequently, nothing ever came close to happening to me because it never entered my mind that this could be a dangerous thing. So it's kind of like the same thing in my career is, as I got a little older, things did enter my mind that like, oh, maybe is this a smart move? But I would do that pivot right away. Like, no, I've got to go for this. This is an opportunity. I didn't let my mindset of fear take me too far in this direction before I went back. Jess, you always have such wonderful things to say. Does anyone else want to just pipe in real quick before I go off and continue celebrating my day?
Yes. Hi, everyone. This is Erica. Can you hear me?
We can, Erica.
Hi. I've done several pivots in my life because I'm a mom. I got divorced when both my kids were small. So I had a day spa in Houston, Texas, and it was pretty successful. I was doing 4,000 revenue days. I had to close the day spa in order to relocate with my then husband. And I wasn't happy about that, but I did what I needed to do. I hunkered down, get back into corporate America so I can have benefits and take care of those closest to me. Now here I am, both my kids are now in college a year ago. And the past 5 years, I did start a day spa again on the side. I kept my corporate America job, but then I did it sort of part-time, hired staff, and I would only go there after my job from like 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Encountered employees stealing from me, not really keeping up with the quality of treatment and services that I trained them in. You really have to be there to see what they're doing. So after letting everyone go, especially with the pandemic, we were the top body sugaring spa at the time. Now I want to pivot again since my kids are gone. And I want to open up my menu more for high-tech facials, more results-oriented facials, and be more specific in what I'm doing now, because now I really care. When I did my spa back 15 years ago, I didn't care. I just did not know what to be afraid of. So I jumped out there, did everything I needed to do, and it was successful. Now with social media, I feel like I have to go back to the drawing board in order to expand my menu to offer the facial treatments that I do want to expand my service line into. But I have to also get additional education with social media. I've interviewed several marketing managers, and I just don't know which way to go, because I definitely know I need social media to make that expansion successful.
You're so right, Erica. And that's like a whole nother Monday morning we do just on social media, right? But I love the sentence you said, I did not know what to be afraid of. I did not know what to be scared of. I love that very much so. We're at our 20 minutes. I just want to thank you all for starting my birthday morning off just so wonderful. And Carrie, thank you for the happy birthday behind you. That just makes me smile so much. You guys go out and make it a great day, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, Shelley.